Think about the last time you planned a trip. Today, we're taking the grammar and vocabulary from our last 3 classes and putting them to work in the real world to plan a weekend getaway. As you can see in this roadmap, we need to hit 3 specific milestones to succeed. First, inviting a friend. Second, checking into the hotel. And third, exploring the neighborhood. By practicing these exact situations, you bypass the hesitation of searching for words and start speaking with clarity the moment you step out your door. Let's start with the invitation. If someone asks you to go to the movies and you translate directly from Portuguese, you might just say, "No, I can't." In English, that sounds a bit blunt. This text thread shows the formula to decline politely. Start positive with "I'd love to," add "but," and attach your excuse. Notice how these sound in casual speech. Native speakers blend "want to" and "have to" into "wanna" and "have to." You can plug any real-life reason into this structure. You can say, "I'd love to, but I have to study for a test," or "I'd love to, but I need to work late." Softening your rejection this way signals that you value the invitation, even if your schedule doesn't allow you to join in right now. Now, you arrive at your destination. Standing at the front desk while a clerk asks questions can be a stressful part of any trip. The check-in process follows a predictable path. You offer a greeting, state your reservation, and fill out the form. Before you take your key, ask for the details you need, starting with, "What time is breakfast served?" When you follow this standard sequence, you can navigate the check-in process without having to guess what the clerk will ask next. Bags dropped off, it's time to step outside and explore the neighborhood. Here, we run into a common grammar challenge. In Portuguese, you use muito or muitos for almost everything. English splits this concept in 2, depending on whether the things around you can be physically counted. Look at this sorting scale. If you can point out individual items, like 1 restaurant or 2 parks, they are countable and take the word many. For abstract concepts, or masses you can't count individually, like traffic, noise, or crime, you switch to much. Take a look at this front yard. You ask, "How much garbage is there?" because garbage is an uncountable mass. But if your neighbor has 6 dogs, you ask, "How many dogs do they have?" because animals are easily counted. Choosing between much and many correctly in these moments shows you are transitioning from translating words to thinking in English. Let's lock this in. Take 5 seconds, look at the screen, and determine which quantifier goes into these blanks. Parking is an uncountable concept, so it takes how much. Apartment buildings are individual structures, so they take how many. Exercises like this build the reflexes you need to use these grammar rules naturally during a real conversation. Let's put it all together. Imagine I'm calling you. "Hey, do you want to check out that new hotel downtown tonight?" Use the prompt on screen to answer me right now out loud. Excellent work. This cheat sheet gives you a summary of the core rules. Use the polite formula for invitations, follow the standard sequence at the hotel desk, and sort your nouns to use much and many correctly. These 3 tools provide a solid foundation for the most common interactions you'll face on a trip. You're no longer just reciting phrases. You're starting to navigate these travel moments with genuine confidence.